Okay, you can hear me? Good. I'm going to switch to Norwegian for my presentation. I have the presentation itself in English, so it's be a nice combination of all my notes and slides in English and the presentation in Norwegian. But since there is translation being available for our English-speaking guests, I'll use Norwegian language for the presentation itself.
I'm project manager at Technological Institution. I've worked as a project manager and coordinator on that project. This project, we also engaged with the previous project, which forms the background for this. The project, as I said before, is financed through the EU 7th Framework Program for Research and R&E. In addition to doing consulting and product development, etc., we also have ownership of a certification. We own 100% of TI certification ICE. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm going to spend a bit of time putting the result from the PICS project into a quality management environmental system. In addition to being project manager for TI, I'm also an auditor for ISO, several of ISOs, and I have a lot of players within building and construction as my customers, and I want to put some of the results in the PICS project into this connection. We certify systems, we certify personnel, we certify businesses, and we do CE marking of, among other things, steel and aluminium components. The main reason why I'm doing this, the main results, to get an overview. We start off on the project to find out what is out there. What do building and construction within products, chemicals relate to of external frameworks and legalities. This is the first thing we looked into, work package 1. We looked at several elements. These are in reports, and we have shared everything from directives to regulations to standards. We put them into relevant or non-relevant and very relevant documents. And of course, we found the CPR with their performance declaration and REACH, all EU, lots of EU regulations within external environment and working environment and health and products, and harmonized standards. This is published in reports from the project. Important work was to look more closely at technical specifications. Depending on how we count, there are several hundreds of harmonized standards and other documents which are relevant in construction products, 250 plus at least, it depends. We had to select things to find out what we're going to elaborate on. So we identified 47 harmonized standards and 6 European technical approval guidelines, which we went into depth of to look further into information that was required and to be able to harmonize that information. This type of product that we were looking at varied. We tried to include harmonized standards for a lot of different product types, everything from products containing chemical components and all along to woodwork and hard components, to put it that way. This is an overview of the first 12 of the ones that we looked at. I won't go through them in detail, but you can just scan through them and see there's a long series of different product types. And the next products, these are the ones that we looked at. And relevant references to standards. If we continue looking through, we'll look through this quickly. And finally, 6 ETAGs, I think. 53 altogether, or product types altogether, we elaborated on and looked into more deeply. What did we do? We looked more closely at them and classified the information into different categories: product types, property qualities, reference standards, essential properties, user areas. And we saw these harmonized standards had one main challenge. They weren't available in the languages that we wanted and which the project concentrated on. A relatively small number of these standards in English, of course. Most of them, not all, are translated to German and French, but the other European languages are not available for them. We got in touch with the national standardization organizations to find what their plans were to translate the standards. We didn't get much response around Europe. We got in touch with the national contact points for CPR. The CPR, when it was established, also had national contact points. Did they have any plans regarding translation to make the products available? We didn't get much response from them either, so we had to start doing the work ourselves. So we ended up using technical translators to quality assure this, and the translators, this is translated into 47. The 47 standards were translated into the languages that you see on the board. In Norway, we've worked well with Standard Norway. That was the exception. Standard Norge did the translations of these 47 standards and ETAGs into Norwegian, partly paid by the project. So here we've got a more official version, since Standard Norway did this work. In other countries, they've used technical translators, and the project has spent a lot of money and resources to do these translations, to make them available in these languages, which is a prerequisite for having this free trade and free information exchanges. Here we see a short overview of the status. What is missing is some translation to Italian and Spanish. We've translated all these 47 standards and 6 ETAGs, I think it is. So what have we used the information for? We had a digital platform, but the information has also been made available for building a smart data dictionary. So all the translations are included in building smart data dictionary. So by logging on to that, I think Lars will get back to this and show the functionalities. We'll see all the translations and the exchanges between the languages and the terms. When we say the translations, that's not exactly true. This is identification of correct terms that are used. So it's not, you just don't have to use an ordinary translator. You have to have a technical translator. This was very necessary when this translation work was carried out. Through 2014 to 2016, this information has flowed in from the translation work to building a smart data dictionary. Some functionalities are to be addressed by me. These are functionalities which were implemented early on in the project, and we have called it a filter function. What we can do in the project when information is digitalized is to put up lists of unwanted properties of chemical products, and we can make sure that when information is unloaded into the project at a user site or by a business, they get a warning that the product the chemical that you're now downloading, this could be information about a project, etc., that does not meet the requirements that you have set. In that way, one gets a support tool, and we get possibility to give a warning. Here there are unwanted properties of the products. Of course, here we get legal interaction with legal chemicals, illegal chemicals, but of course this means that the information has to be, but one can look up that information. And when it comes to chemicals, that's fairly easy as chemical abstracts, substances. The information has to be established and digitalized. We put up national filters, which is in default. Here there's been a working group led by EBA and the major contractors within building and construction in Norway, who've participated in putting up these national filters. That's a default. In addition, the various businesses or enterprises can make their own criteria. Which one is warned about when one tries to use products which do not meet do not have the desired properties. Another functionality as an effect of digitalization of information previous safety data something through REACH. The exposure scenario is included as part of the security data, something up to several hundred pages. It's not user-friendly for the user who's going to use chemicals at his workplace and to get acquainted with it. This has been written for experts. My background is toxicology, toxicants, and that is interesting for me to read, but certainly not for everyone else. By digitalizing data, then one can draw out information from the safety data, something, and make the things for the individual user. Then we'll also have what sort of information do we need to safeguard the work? This has been defined. The ambition was to make a one-page information circular without having to go down into Times New Roman 2. So we have sheets. Yeah, the safety data sheets. I didn't see the last word there, sorry. That's what it is. The content of the system. It contains a lot of information which is relevant for the sector. In addition, the system would be able to give you quite a bit of help for more functionalities. You've got the register available. You can identify automatically illegal or unwanted properties for the product. And support for decision making. These are modules. Secure information for the users and communicate up and down in the value chain. Finally, I'm going to tell you a little about the relevance for the standards. I'm working, as I said, as an auditor. These standards here are relevant for building and construction enterprises when there's an environmental control system. We've made sure that information from here has been operationalized through the project result. We get the new version of standards, which you probably know. ISO 9001 has come in a new version. 18001, 45001 is what that's going to be. That came out 14 days ago and is now available. There are new elements here. But what is most important to notice is that there's a risk-based approach. Obligatory procedures have been replaced by documentation. Platform neutral, that means electronic platforms being facilitated. And communication with external players in the value chain, and there's increased focus on implementation and achieving goals. We've made sure that we've done that to see that the tools that have been developed are facilitated for the changes that we see in relation to the change of systems. These are the main. We've translated and made available information about a number of products, product types. We have specified software, IT tools. The IT tools have been developed, we've tested and validated, and we have demonstrated it. And this is one of the activities that forms part of it. Thank you. Please take a closer look at the website of the product. You'll get a lot more information there. Thank you.